for all of the conflicting emotions I have about the good policies and bad qualities of Donald Trump, for all of the dread I have about the course Joe Biden has set for the nation, and the questions I have about his competency to lead the nation, for all of the disdain I have for modern protests and cancel culture, I am perhaps most concerned about the moral state of the nation. If indeed election officials manufactured an outcome contrary to the votes cast by living U.S. citizens, if people who claim to be objective journalists are liars and propagandists serving the goals of the Democratic Party, if a deep state cabal of unelected, unaccountable government bureaucrats is conspiring against the will of the American people, the will of the duly elected president, if our elected officials act out of bribery, their own self-interest, and not on behalf of the American people, if lobbyists hold all the power, if big tech companies exploit us and try to control us, these are immoral acts. The American people have a right to revolt against such a rampantly corrupt, morally bankrupt system. But breaking into the U.S. Capitol, bashing in the head of a Capitol Hill police officer with a fire extinguisher, erecting gallows and threatening to assassinate the vice president, slamming a police officer's head in a door, smashing windows, stealing laptops. These are not the acts of a moral people. They are immoral acts. If indeed we live in a systemically racist society, as people of color are constantly told, if no matter how hard they try, no matter how good they are, no matter how smart they are, no matter how hard they work, a person of color has no chance of success, the deck is stacked against them, they will always be, they are doomed to be second-class citizens. They are told this is systemic. It is everywhere. It is pervasive. There is no way they can escape it. Our nation was founded to oppress them, to exploit them, to discriminate against them. Worse, they must live with the constant fear that at any moment a white police officer will try to kill them. If what racial minorities are told is true, then they live in an immoral nation, an immoral society with insidious and evil law enforcement. They, racial minorities, are right to rebel against a system that is racist from its inception and to its core. But assassinating and assaulting police officers, burning down block after block of buildings, smashing windows, torching hundreds of police cars, looting Macy's, these are not the acts of a moral people. Most people accept some level of belief that the government is corrupt, either through deep state conspiracy theories of QAnon or through the systemic racism conspiracy theories of Black Lives Matter. The responses to these perceived immoralities have also been immoral. We are a nation in serious need of morality. I think at its core, the nation is facing a moral crisis. The bad news is that there is not much we can do to make someone else suddenly a moral person. The good news is that we ourselves can endeavor to be moral people. It is imperative that we strive to be our better moral selves. I don't think the nation can survive much more immorality. I still have reason to hold out hope for our nation. During this pandemic, many healthcare workers have performed heroically with self-sacrifice to save lives and make lives better. Prior to the vaccine, they were in some respects risking their own lives to save others. In terms of time spent, the mental, physical, and emotional demands of their jobs, They have sacrificed greatly to help their fellow Americans. Many other Americans have responded with acts of kindness and affection for the heroic work of our healthcare professionals. Our nation is not lost. We still have plenty of moral citizens. We still are a moral nation. The most extreme people get the most attention. Too many of them are not moral. They make our moral decline look more dire. But there is a moral decline. It is getting worse. It needs to stop. We sorely need a return to morality before we destroy ourselves and our great nation.